Hi, how are you tonight? My name is Roberta Colasino, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in the Finger Lakes region of upstate New York. I come to you, I come to you live every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock with a free stamping class of some kind. I've been doing a series on techniques, and I can't even remember. I think tonight was going to be either the 7th or the 8th. However, I had a little glitch. It was more than a little glitch, actually. It was a big glitch. So I'm going to be doing something a little bit different tonight, and it won't be a technique. But I will backtrack a little bit to show you some things that I made finishing up the cards that I started in the last week or so. Okay, here we go. I'm where I'm supposed to be. Just wanted to check that out. All right, so let me put the camera down so I can show you what I've been working on, and then possibly show you what's coming next, although I've had a glitch with that too. It's just one of those nights. So hang on, please, and I will turn the camera down. Oh, it never fails. I don't push that button hard enough. Okay. Seems like it's tilted a little bit. There we go. Okay, that's pretty good. So, this is my Facebook group. It's a public group, so anybody is welcome to join. The only rule is that you just have to be nice. And that has not been a problem so far. Once in a while we get, one of those trolls but they're not usually nasty, they're just kind of obnoxious. So anyway, this is my host code for what's left of the month of April. And if you have not taken a look at my monthly, daily creative prompts calendar, you might want to do that because one person took a look and found something that she found interesting. I'll leave it at that. And you can shop with me at www.rcolasino.stampinup.net. And there's also a link in the featured section up above at the top of this group that will take you directly to my shopping page. Okay, so last week I wanted to start out with this one. So this is a shout out to Cheryl, and I don't know if she's here or not tonight. I don't see her yet, but this unfortunately is a retired set. This was part of the celebration in January, but from January to February. Oh, excuse me. And last week I did a coloring technique using the baby wipes. So not the one where I use the baby wipes as a stamp, but the one where I use the baby wipes kind of as a way to apply color to paper. And, well, I thought I put it in here. But anyway, so I did a thing where I just did some red at the top and some green at the bottom, and, it was kind of a very abstract version of, let's say, a sunset. But Cheryl made a comment, and she said it looks like, or makes me think of watermelons, or it looks like watermelons to me. And so that made me think about this set. Now, this set, unfortunately, is not an outline stamp set. It is a fill-in stamp set, so there are no outline shapes. But what I did was I took that set. Oh, here they are. So here was the paper that I colored using the baby wipes. And you can see I've done some chopping up of this paper. And what I did was I took Cheryl's idea, so thank you very much for that idea, and I used this leaf piece, and I used this slice of watermelon piece, and this slice of watermelon piece, and this slice of watermelon piece, and I used the coordinating oval punch, modern oval punch I think it's called, which has not retired, luckily, and I created this card. So first I used the entire punch to cut out this oval shape that looks like a watermelon, and I use that to cut out a section of green from here, right there. And then I did this thing where you can do this if you're careful, you just have to play with it a little bit. You can take a punch and you can slip a piece of paper into the punch, and I can't do it now because I don't have this cut, but if you had a strip of this, you could put this in here so that the whole thing was sort of hanging out and only a portion of it would get cut. And that's what I did to get this and this. And then I used another piece of these two, and I didn't obviously use that stamp at all. In fact, the only stamps that I used really were the watermelon seeds, which I put in the watermelon slices, and this greenery, which I did in Old Olive, And so you've got the two different slices of watermelon there, or the whole watermelon, and then this is the watermelon vine. I've never seen a watermelon growing on a vine, so I can't say for sure, but I'm sure that's what it looks like. And I did that on, actually I just grabbed a piece of paper out of my paper stash, and I have a feeling that this, I don't think it's Mossy Meadow. Well, it might be. I'm honestly not sure what this is. I don't think it's Evening Evergreen. That was a retired color. I don't think it's dark enough for that, so I'm not sure what it is, but it seemed to kind of go with it. And then I just took a strip of that and put it on the inside as a decoration. So Cheryl, thank you very much for that idea, because it turned out to be a really cute card. And I used one of my favorite sentiments, Just a Note, from Inked in Tile. And I just like that because with Just a Note, you can turn it into almost anything. So again, thank you, Cheryl, for that idea. The other baby wipe technique that I did last week was using the baby wipes as a stamp. And for that one, I put multiple drops of different colors. In this one, I think I used like 3 shades of green and a little bit of yellow. And then I dipped the stamp or tapped the stamp onto the baby wipe and stamped that. So you get kind of a feathery looking image. And of course, I put some of the brushed brass butterflies on there because they seem to go. And the inside, I just left blank. And I used the double oval punch, which also is sadly retiring. And I think that this gingham ribbon is retiring, and the one that's staying is the vanilla, or it's the other way around. If someone knows, let me know. And then this one was the flower from also from Inked and Tiled. And in this one, I think I used Gorgeous Grape, and I might have used Fresh Freesia and Highland Heather. And I just basically created my own background using the same technique with the drops on the baby wipe. And then on the inside, I just kind of made a border. So I hadn't finished these into cards by the time we went off the air last week, so I thought I would share those with you. And this one is the same basic technique, except I used Cherry Cobbler, Real Red, and I think maybe Sweet Sorbet. And then did a little border on the inside for those. And used that nice new stamp set that I like a lot, that I won't be able to remember the name of now. It is Sweetly Scripted. Yeah, I use that, so I like that a lot. So that was something else that I did with those. And then I found this partially completed card, and I know it was from last week, but I don't really understand where the background was. So I'm not sure if I just kind of goofed on this one and didn't make a background, or if I grabbed the wrong piece of paper. But I know I started this online, during the live, and then I just didn't complete it. So I completed it using the blends afterwards, and then just used that. To tell you the truth, I almost like it. This was the image dyed, cut out with a die, and this stamp set is called, hang on, I gotta find it. This one is called, hang on, it's right here, Country Flowers. And this one I think has, I know it has designer series paper that goes with it, and it has an embossing folder, I think, that goes with it, and some dies that go with it. And I did use the dies. I didn't fussy cut, I used the dies. So that's kind of a cute card, and I almost like the image as a border on the bottom as much, if not better, than I like the image sitting in the milk can. So that's that card completed, and I thought I would share that with you, but I don't get what the background was on that. I think I just was not sleeping, I was sleeping on the job. I can't even talk straight tonight either. So this one was another one that I demonstrated technique using the masks or the stencils, and just did Calypso Coral on Calypso Coral, so tone on tone. And then I think this is the Lemon Lime Twist, and then I used that Biggest Wish set, which I know is retiring, which is very sad. And I used some of the Parakeet Party Baker's Twine. That doesn't look even, that's going to bug me. I used some of the Parakeet Party Baker's Twine just because there isn't any Baker's Twine in the new in colors, or in the new colors. And I thought that was okay. And so I put that on there, and in this case the background is kind of subtle. I didn't put anything on the inside yet. I might not. Sometimes I don't know, but I wanted to show you how that one turned out. This one, I cut off a piece of it to make it like a fun fold, and I used that same design, but I didn't color it in. I just used it sort of as the background, and then used the stamp So Lucky to Know You. This one I used another embossing folder, but with embossing paste this time, not with blending brushes. So this has, let's see if I can get that a little closer. Yeah, there you can see it. This has a real texture to it. You know, you can absolutely feel this with your hands. And so I thought that was kind of cute. And then the last one turned out to be my absolute favorite because I was kind of in a mood to use the blues and yellows, which you might have heard me mention before are like my favorite colors together. So this one used a mask and blending brushes. And then I used another set from the new catalog called Thoughtful Wishes, which also has an embossing folder, and it has designer series paper that's really pretty. But for this, I was just showing the technique, and then I stamped these images in the new Basic Beige, which is, I think I said, was a good replacement for Sahara Sand as a no-line watercoloring. But I didn't use watercolors or my watercolor brush. I just used the watercolor pencils and colored those in, and I thought that was really pretty. And then on the inside, I did the happy birthday in the sweetly scripted. So those were the follow-up cards, which I got pictures taken of some of them, but not all, so I've got to work on that. And I thought I had a couple of choices for today. So basically, let me tell you what I was going to do, and I'll actually show you like what I started out with. The technique for today was going to be using the new brayer and showing you how to bray color onto an embossing folder and then put it through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and how beautiful that would look. And you can sort of get the idea just by looking through it. I clipped it so that it wouldn't move. And then I went to get my the plates for my embossing folder. And they were absolutely nowhere to be found. I have not used them since I've been home, to the best of my knowledge. And I'm thinking that I might have left them in Florida, which would make me very unhappy, because buying the replacement plates is something you've got to do every once in a while, and it's not a big deal. They're not terribly expensive, but buying the whole base plate and all of the other plates, again, would be a pain and an unnecessary expense. I'm hoping I didn't leave them behind, but I honestly looked everywhere I could think of to look, and if I can't find them soon, I'm going to ask a neighbor to go down and check and maybe have them mailed to me. I don't know, so I was very annoyed about that. So that's what was supposed to be happening tonight, and maybe that's going to have to wait until, I don't know, I don't even want to say next week. So then my next thought was to get out the 5 new in colors, which are Petunia Pop, Peach Pie, Pretty in Pink, Shy Shamrock, and Summer Splash. And these really are very, very pretty colors. So I thought I'd make one card base in each one of these colors and then kind of go from there. I have an idea, and we'll just see where I go with it, basically. But it's a good way to introduce these colors. And I was thinking maybe we would do a card similar to this in the next Coffee and a Card. It'll be a pretty card no matter what, but it will introduce people to the new colors. And one of my ideas for this card was to use some greenery, foliage. I can't call it greenery because it wasn't going to be green. To use some foliage to cut out and then mount on these cards in different colors. So I wouldn't put this color on this one. I might put Shy Shamrock on this one. And I might put, I don't know, Peach Pie on this one. You get the idea. So I was going to kind of mix it up so you get to see all the colors mixed with the other colors. It's not always 100% true, but very often if you're dealing with any color family, whether it's the in colors or the brights or the subtles or the regals or whatever, if you mix those colors together, they generally work okay. They generally come out all right. So there's one card base in each of the colors. And then this is the pack of 6x6, 2024, 2026 in colors. So these packs are, like I said, 6x6, and I believe they have 48. Is that right? No, 40. So they have 40 of each. Well, 40 pieces of paper. Oh my goodness. I also have terrible, dry mouth tonight, so let me get some water. Oh yeah, much better. So I believe we're going to have 4 of each. So here are the 4. Okay, I think this is Petunia Pop. And then the designs are 2-sided. And so far I'm loving this. Last year's color family DSP, I have to say I wasn't thrilled with it. So this one has a really pretty, I can't really call it a damask design. I don't know what you'd call it, but, and then it's got bubbles or circles on the other side, and I really like that. And then this is the peach pie, which has the floral on one side and the stripes on the other. So what you're going to see is that some are going to have the floral on one side and the stripes on the other, and some are going to have this design that I don't quite know what to call with. Kind of looks like Moroccan tile, kind of looks a little bit like the quatrefoil embossing folder. So if it's going to have that on the front, then it's going to have the bubbles on the back. So you have several choices of design, but not the same design in every color. And then this one is the Shy Shamrock, so that one's got the floral or image and then the stripes on the back. And then this is, okay, I get it. I just told you a big fat lie. So you're getting 8 sheets of each color and 4 designs, because these are the same color, but 4 different designs. So whatever I just said, just ignore me. I knew that just didn't seem right, and then I realized I had too much paper left after showing you that paper. So now you've got 4 different designs in that one, and this is the Shy Shamrock, and you've got that with the stripes on the back, and then you've got this design with the circles or bubbles. They make me think of bubbles on the back. And then this is the Petunia Pop, and again you've got 4 of the floral image with the stripes on the back, and then 4 of this image with the bubbles on the back, and then the same thing for the Summer Splash. So I had a team meeting last week, and someone said, well, that looks just like Just Jade. And what we were talking about was how sometimes you have a new color and you think it looks just like some other color, but then if you get out a piece of the old paper, and I've learned now, I try to save a couple of pieces of every retired color, if you pull that out and put them next to each other, you will see that they really are different. And one of my team members said, how do they do that? And I realized what she meant was, how do they develop all of these colors and make sure that they never totally duplicate a color? And I'm sure they have all of the numbers, just like when you buy a can of paint to paint a bedroom or something. When you buy a can of paint, there's usually like a number on it that says what percentage of black is in it, what percentage of blue is in it, or whatever. And so I'm sure that that's what they do. So my idea was to cut a strip a 1/2 inch, I think, maybe 3/4 inch. Let me see. So if that, do we have a mathematician on board tonight? So this is 5.5 inches wide, and I want to divide it into 5. So would 3/4 inches work, or wouldn't it work? I'm not sure. Let's go with 1/2 inch. I could get a calculator out, but I know people who just figure that out right off the top of their heads, which is just annoying. Not really, I'm kidding. I think that's going to be too narrow. Unless I go in this direction, then it might be kind of cool too. So we could do some different things. So, but for this one, do I want to put a strip of this on this? Yes, I want to put all 5 on each of them. So, and I'm not going to make every, well, no, I don't think I'm going to make every card right now, because I just don't think we'll have time for that. But I'm going to take that back, and I'm going to do a 1/2 inch strip. And then maybe on some others I'll try doing it slightly differently. So 5 cards, 5 strips of each. And obviously, had I known that this was what I was going to be doing ahead of time, well, then I would have had all of this done. But sometimes it's a good thing. So in my junk journaling world, when people do videos of their junk journal making, they call them a process video. I don't know if I've ever heard a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator call theirs a process video or not. They tend to just call it a tutorial or something. But to me, the term process video means, kind of obviously, that they're showing you the process that they use. And sometimes that process even includes the thought process, like what they were thinking when they decided to make this project. So in this case, I wasn't really thinking at all because this wasn't what I was going to do. But the good news about that is that then you get to see the process. Okay, and, oh, that's not right. We'll save that for the inside of a card. So if, if the outcome is not successful, and I suppose that would be up to individual opinions, then you would see the process and say, okay, well, I won't use that process again. So what might be wrong or turn out to be not good is the fact that I'm not measuring to find out exactly what I need. I tend to like to eyeball things, and sometimes that works out well and sometimes not so much. So we will see what happens. So if I got 4 of those, okay. I guess I can't count and cut at the same time and talk at the same time. All right, so you notice I'm kind of going back and forth, taking the one that has that pattern on it, then the one that has the floral on it, and so on. So then the next one, I'll grab this pattern, and we'll use that, although we still have 2 sides to use, so I could opt to use any side that I wanted. And over here on my left, I've got a stamp case that's full of pre-cut liners for cards, which I really like to do, because then if I suddenly need a new or different one, I don't have to rush and cut it, because you probably don't want to watch me cut any more than I'm cutting right here. Okay, maybe what I'll do next then is grab this one. I feel like I missed something. I don't know, did I miss something? So far I only have 2 colors. 3, I should have 5 colors by the time I'm done. Did I put these 2 together? I put 2 together. I did. I put the shamrock, shy shamrock, and the other one together. And they're really not that similar. There we go. So 3 colors, so that makes sense. Okay, because then I'll have the pretty in pink. Oh, I did that one wrong too. That's not a problem, and that would never be something that you would throw out, because that could be a decoration for the inside of a card. It could be a layer to go behind something on a card. So that type of thing we don't throw out. If you make a sliver of a mistake, then certainly you can toss it. So we've had a lot of rain here in the Finger Lakes. I don't know about you guys, wherever you are, but we've had enough rain that I've kind of had it. I'm done with it. I know all that business about April showers bringing May flowers and all that, but my daffodils bloomed, and then tonight actually they were talking about a hard frost. Some areas got a frost. They were also talking about some possible snow tonight. Not that we haven't had snow in April before, because we have, but I'm probably going to put a survey up in the group. But anybody who watches this, we're talking about the possibility, my team and I, of doing a scrapbooking crop. And at this point, we're trying to decide if we would do a one-day crop or if we would do a weekend crop or what. I've never run a crop, but I've been to many crops, and I know quite a few people who've run crops who could give me some good advice on what to do and what not to do. But we are kind of curious as to how many people would be interested in going to a crop, whether they prefer a one-day or a weekend. One possibility was to go to a local bed and breakfast and do this. Another possibility is just to do, the good old do it at a firehouse kind of thing. And we really, like I said, just in the very basic talking stages. And who knows when this will happen. I don't know when it will happen. All right, so now I need a card front, and I just want to make sure that it's the right size. Okay, so 4 by 5 1/4 is a basic card layer. And then we can start putting these on. And I'm just going to like dry fit them, and I don't have to use the same side each time. I can kind of flip it around and use another one. I don't want to put the two similar colors next to each other, so the two pinks, I don't want to put them next to each other, and the two greens I don't want to put next to each other. Okay, so that's actually going to work out okay, spacing wise. It would be okay if it was, if they were 3/4 of an inch, I don't know, it'd be kind of tight. So what I had in mind, and I had a couple sitting right here. Never fails when I have something sitting right there. So this is just something I have kicking around, and it's not the right colors. But I was thinking of something like this. And at the moment, I'm not sure where this punch is either, although I used it last week, where these would be cut out of these colors too, and these would sit on top of this with a sentiment maybe behind it. And that would be the basis for the card, so that you're getting lots of looks of the in color, both in the large paper, in the DSP, and in something die cut or punched. And that was kind of the idea. So I'm going to want to butt these up against one side and then trim on the other side. And I don't know, these will probably be too small to do much of anything with, but you never know. Sometimes I just put them in a dish and hang on to them for a while, and then I look at them and I say, yeah, I've had that long enough and I have no idea what I'm going to do with it, so let's ditch it. So I think if I do the two ends first, then I can kind of space. If it was an even number, I might do the center first, but it's an odd number. So let's just see how this works. I'm not going to worry about it being absolutely perfect. And of course it would work out better. And sorry, I just realized that you're not seeing everything that I'm doing, so let's move that up. There we go. Okay, so I keep these pins right in here. By the way, I did discover that these pins are getting rusty because they're not stainless steel pins. So I did order some stainless steel pins from Amazon, and I will use them in the future. But this isn't the type of glue where I'm leaving the pin in all the time. If you're leaving a pin in a bottle of glue all the time, it really needs to be stainless steel, because if it's not, it will start to rust and your glue will get rusty colored. And other than that, I don't know if it matters, because usually you don't and shouldn't see the glue, but you still might not want your glue getting rusty. Alright, so then I'm going to try to do this one down here and make it about the same distance from the edge. I think it's just easier to put the glue here, although I have a little dip there. Okay. Oh, that's going to be fine. Okay. And I'm still going to try to keep them positioned so I'm not going too far off base here. But if it's not perfect, it won't matter, because we will be putting a sentiment strip. Okay, now for this one, I think I'm going to put it on here. I'm feeling a little nervous about putting it there and then it not being the right spot. We're going to put a sentiment strip or a sentiment punch or something, and then we're also going to put some type of greenery, but I don't think we're going to get to that tonight because I can't use the die cut machine without the plates, and because I have no idea where this punch is. I used it last week, and then I decided to use it in a class, and I have the tote behind me with everything for the next class in it, and yet the punch isn't there. So I would say it's time to get organized. I basically have been home for, I think, a month, and I have not really reorganized everything and put everything back in its normal place since I've been home. So it's not good. Oh, the only problem with that is I put glue all the way down to the end, didn't I? Yep, I did. Okay. Alright, so I think that's going to be pretty good. And this time I'll try to remember not to go all the way down to the end. Much easier if you're going to trim something off like this if you turn it upside down and trim from the back, because then you can put your scissors right up against the cardstock and get a nice even cut without any little bits and pieces hanging off. Okay, so like I said, I don't think I'm going to build all of these cards right now. I think that would be kind of a pain. But this is a nice way for you to see all the colors. And then the other thing I could do, because I have extra and I'll show you. Oh, sorry, that noise is probably kind of annoying, huh? Okay, so then what we could do, let's see, I do have the decorative circle punch over here, and I have the oval punch, but I don't think I want to use that. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that because I should decide what sentiment I want to use. I'm looking for something that takes up a little bit more room, and for some reason I'm finding all these small sentiments. I don't want something huge either, but something kind of in between. Let me see what else I have, because I don't want to grab something that's retiring if I can help it. It is funny, because everything I'm coming up with is kind of small, little sentiments. Okay. I'm pretty sure, yeah, this one's carrying over. So how about this, hope your birthday is wonderful? Or sending lots of love? Well, let's do birthday. I am going to be doing a show in June, and so I'm probably going to want a nice variety of cards, but birthday cards seem to be one of the more popular cards. Well, that's totally crooked. Okay. And then grab a piece of this peach pie. I have no scraps of these colors yet because they're so new, so I guess it's time to start making some scraps. I know that sounds weird, but... Right, and then I'm going to do one in white as well. And I want to use one of those color inks. I think I'm going to use Petunia Pop. I can tell already I'm sort of starting to favor some of these colors. I like Petunia Pop a lot. That is still a little crooked. So another thing that I sometimes do, which is no guarantee, is I put the stamp on an angle. You know what though? It's a circle, so it honestly doesn't matter. And I just stuck my thumb in the ink, so you always want to watch for that one. That is why they give us these nice little grooves on these blocks. And I hold it down for a couple of seconds. just to let the color soak in. Oh, and there's ink on the edge of my pad too. Right, and so if I had the circles, I could make one bigger than the other, but this only comes in one shape, so that's fine. So what we're going to do is glue these together with just a little bit of an overlap, so you can see this peeking out. Or we could, I don't know if I've tried this with this one, the thing where you cut it in half. Let's try it. If I don't like it, we'll do another one, or we'll put it back together or something. So that's another trick, is that you can take one of these and cut it in half and glue it like that so that there's some sticking out on either side. It works better with some style of punches than with others, but that's not bad. I think that'll work. I just have to be careful how I line it up. So let's try that. You just don't want to see that sticking up. And I think I tried cutting that once, like trimming it a little bit, and I wasn't real happy with the way it came out, so I won't do that again. I think it's better just to have it not everywhere. But I do like having the same amount showing on each side. I think that's okay. And then we'll put some dimensionals on. And I usually put the dimensionals over any area that I've glued. Our glue is very strong. I've never had a problem with it, but I figure it can't hurt to just put one or two in those spots so that there's kind of no chance in case I didn't use enough glue. Take your pick tool is great for this. You can usually pick up 3 or 4 before you have to clean them off and start again. I think I got them all. Oh, there's one stuck on there. That's why I didn't think I had them all. So I am really liking these new in colors a lot, which is good because I was kind of sad about the ones that are going away. All right, and so for this one, maybe I don't even need to worry about that idea of having some of the greenery. So until you really press this down, it's not set, and you can really make sure that you're getting it straight. Sometimes I can't really tell without looking it up or picking it up and looking at it straight on. And then I'm going to go ahead and press it down, and that one's done. And so that would be just a really nice sample for someone to see all of the in colors in one place. And then to take it a step further, uh-oh, what happened here? Now, where in heaven's name did that come from? This is brand new out of the package today, but I'm telling you, I think that's, you know what, I must have put my embossing folder down on some of these before I cut them, maybe. Okay, well, that's not good. However, we'll just move ahead anyway, because we're going to cover that part up. Yeah, that's a shame, but okay. Moving ahead. So then the other thing that we could do, just to kind of let people see what this looks like inside, and let them see some of the new colors in terms of ink. Just thinking what would be the best one to do that with. Almost thinking, since it's a birthday thing, although for some reason that makes me think of a poinsettia, but I know it's not. It's just a little flower. Oh, but you know what? Speaking of little flowers, there is a really little flower there. That might be kind of cute. So what we could do, no need to have a great big block to do that with, is we'll do a little bit of everything. So what direction was that card going in? It was going landscape style, right? Grab a piece of scrap paper, and how about if we just do some stamping in all of the colors. I'm just going to leave a little space in between. just kind of do a little border. These pads are new and I haven't used them very much, so they're very juicy. And you can see I got ink all over my stamp, which is not good. You don't want that to happen, because it'll end up getting on your paper, especially if you're a person who presses hard when you stamp. Okay, and then I'll get some Summer Splash. And maybe I won't do all of them, because clearly I'm not going to get 5 in a row here. So I might skip around a little bit. I can always come back and do some more if I need to. And then let's not, well, let's see. Let's get the peach pie out here. Okay. And then this is the Shy Shamrock. Well, I don't think I want to do another one. And then we'll end with the Pretty in Pink, and we'll just kind of fill in any blank spaces with that. There we go. So there we get another little hint of all of the new in colors. So that's kind of nice. I'm not happy about that though, and that has to be the Petunia Pop, which is what I used in the brayer. Okay, so that's kind of pretty, I think. And I think it could be done the other way as well. And if you went the other way, then you'd have more room, and maybe the 3/4 inches would work. I'm looking for those ones that I cut, that I made the wrong size, but of course now I don't see them. Well, I would try 3/4 of an inch if going that way, and then maybe have one where the sentiment is here and the cutout greenery is kind of coming out from behind it. So we can just call this Introduction to the New In Colors 101. All right, and let's see. I don't know that I really want to go ahead and make another one, because you saw me make one and they're really all going to be basically the same. I might change them up if I find that punch. This one, the bow punch, then I would punch out some of those in that as well, and maybe even stamp some of them on the inside. So I need to find the bow punch, and I need to find my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine plates. And I just don't know what to say about that. And I've also got, in the new in colors, the blends. So I could do something with some coloring possibly on the inside as well. I could actually even fill in these, or fill in some of them. That would be kind of cute. And this is the dark, I think, dark Petunia Pop. So maybe not all of them, but maybe some of them could be filled in, and that might be kind of an interesting look, and again, just give you another hint of the color. Yeah, that's kind of cute. We could put a little black dot in the center if we wanted to. And I'm just going ahead and using the dark because I don't really see any point in doing all the blending with something this tiny. Just kind of doesn't make sense. I'll do some of that. And then I'm just going to use all the darks, I think. So this is the dark Summer Splash. And then maybe I can try to work it so I'm not coloring any of the ones that are next to each other, maybe. Dark peach pie, and I'm using the bullet tip end of these. Oh, and I was going to try not to color two that are next to each other, but that might end up not being possible. We'll see. Dark Shy Shamrock. And then the dark Pretty in Pink. I'm just making a few short strokes for each petal. I didn't even have any of the Pretty in Pink over there. Oh, well, you know what? I know I said I wasn't going to do two that were next to each other, but this is such a small piece of one that that would probably be okay. Okay, and I could color them all, but I kind of like getting to see a little bit of each kind. So there you go. All right, so I think that's where I will call it quits for tonight, and I'll let you know next week how my search turned out, if I find my missing things or if I have to send to Florida for them. All right, so I will see you next Wednesday, and with any luck, well, I'll bring you another technique, background technique, I think. I have a list of them, and I have to see which ones I've covered and which ones I haven't. And then that technique for sure, if I can get the plates for the embossing machine in time. If not, I'll come up with a different one. I can't do that forever, and then I'd like to move on to just maybe doing some fun folds too, because I've been asked about that. All right, so thank you very much for joining me. Have a great evening, and I will see you 1 week from tonight.